Yo, what's going on? Steuben here, and today we're going to do something a little bit different, and I'm going to talk about the deck that I played at Indy, the Indianapolis Regional Championships, this past weekend. Whenever this video goes live, it might be like the the weekend before now, I played Rapid Strike Inteleon Vmax, and honestly, like, the deck felt really good, and I hit right matchups. I just ended up going 4-3. I'm sorry, 4-2-3. I had 3 ties, 2 losses, and 4 wins. The ties, I did hit some unfortunate games into time. This is slightly a lengthy deck to play sometimes, and also a lot of new players showed up at the event and weren't really good at like managing time. They weren't necessarily slow playing by any means, but it is what it is. It wasn't slow enough for me to call a judge or yell at them, say, "Hey, can you hurry up? Can you play faster?" We just, some people don't know when to scoop when a game is over. This is definitely like a shock factor deck, so keep that in mind when you play this sort of stuff. This works really well in a closed decklist setting. So without further ado, let's get into it. So I played a 3-3 Inteleon Vmax line here. The regular V, nothing really to note here. 200 HP is a little bit on the low side in comparison to like a lot of these other things without there, the 210, 220. Keep that in mind. This is very frail, but you've got 2 attacks. Neither of them came up. I've never attacked with this at all throughout the course of the weekend. The star of the show, though, is the Vmax 320 HP Rapid Strike. The ability Double Gunner. You can discard a water energy from your hand to hit 2 of your opponent's bench Pokemon and put 2 damage counters on them each. It doesn't happen a lot, but it can. And then the real thing here is Gmax Spiral for 70 plus for a Water and a Colossus, or in this case, a Rapid Strike energy. You may put the energy attached to this Pokemon into your hand, and it does 70 more damage. So basically, you attack, you put the energy back in your hand, the next turn you wipe the damage off with Cheryl. Pretty straightforward. You just slowly chip away at them and their resources while you're constantly able to wipe all the damage off your board. To supplement, we did play the other Inteleon package, 4 of the Keep Calling Sobbles. Very important in this deck. Every Pokemon you play except for Manaphy is a Rapid Strike, so it doesn't matter. I mean, Drizzile technically isn't a Rapid Strike, but, you're not benching this with Keep Calling. So 4 Shady Dealings Drizziles, 1 Quick Shooting Inteleon, and 1 Shady Dealings Inteleon. Honestly, it felt really good. The counts felt pretty solid on this. No complaints on that. We also were rocking a 2-2 Octillery Rhine for the Rapid Strike Searcher deck for whatever Rapid Strike card. There's a lot of Rapid Strike tech in here, as well as the energy is really important to be able to grab it back. So if they hit you with a Marnie, you're able to use Rapid Strike Search and just grab the energy back from the deck, guaranteed every turn. And the last Pokemon, Manaphy. Manaphy coming out really gave this deck new life. Basically just set you up so you have a much better matchup against Jolteon and Urshifu. Jolteon is honestly non-existent, or at least it wasn't existent to my knowledge in Indy, so didn't have to worry about it. But Manaphy did swing some of the Urshifu games in my favor. There would be turns where they would boss this up and take a KO, expecting to be able to hit us with a rapid flow the next turn, but I also have some tech to get this back. We'll get into that. MVP of the deck, Triple Cheryl. For the longest time, I was playing 4 and a Pal Pad, and it just felt like it was too much. So 3 and a Pal Pad is perfect. You can technically do it 5 times if you you don't prize any, and it just felt really good to be able to wipe all the damage off the Inteleon every turn. Technically, you also heal all of your evolved Pokemon too. Everything evolves except for the Manaphy, so it feels really good there. Next, we rocked 2 copies of Marnie for some disruption. It felt really good to be able to set them back and put their hands away, where I'm able to continuously grab all the pieces I need. So even if I Marnied myself down, I could always just use the Shady Dealings or the Rapid Strike Search just to be able to rinse and repeat all of my actions. I played a single copy of Research for some of the slower turns, or a turn where, like, if they would have boss KO'd something else or pivot and took a KO, that way I don't have to Cheryl. I could use this to dump my hand and draw. A lot of times I play this on my second turn. Feels pretty good. We rocked 2 copies of Boss's Orders. Nothing too crazy. We do 2-shot almost everything in the format with this. Sometimes you need the choice belt to get there, or the double gunner, but boss would, let them pivot away, and then we'd be able to boss it up and take a KO. Feel really good. I also rocked a single copy of Avery. Felt really good in a lot of matchups. Really good against the Urshi decks. Really good against all the Inteleon setup decks. And it also carried me in a Rapid Strike Malamar match. And then for a little bit more on the weird side, we rocked a copy of Brawly. And going second, if you opened up with this, or on your second turn, if you needed a Shady Dealings for it, or a Rapid Strike Search, you didn't really set up very well. This would really just get me back into the game altogether here. Search your deck for up to 3 Rapid Strike basic Pokemon and put them on your bench, then shuffle your deck. So basically, it's a keep calling for when you're not able to attack with a keep calling. Really good. It just felt really clutch when I needed it. And also, I played a copy of Karina's Focus. You can draw until you have 6 cards in your hand. It was just nice to be able to search for this with the Rapid Strike Search when I needed it, when I had a slower turn. It just felt solid. No complaints still. I wouldn't change anything here. Going forward to Jersey. I can't go to Jersey, but hey, if you are, this deck is definitely worth considering if the Arceus meta continues. We rocked 4 Path to the Peak. In hindsight, 4 Path was a little bit overkill, so going forward, I would definitely change one of these paths out to either a Tower of Waters or Escape Rope. That would be like really the only critique I would do going forward, so keep that in mind. Definitely consider flip-flopping the path out. This really helps in the Mew matchup. I didn't hit any Mew in 9 rounds, surprisingly, though. But if I would have, I definitely would have used Path to just slow them down and slowly chip away. In the Mew matchup, it is a little bit of a struggle sometimes, but with the inclusion of a Water Energy and Double Gunner, you can honestly hit Genesects and just take 2 prizes, take 2 prizes, take 2 prizes. Because if a Mew player is smart and intelligent against you, they're going to Psychic Leap. So you're going to want to be able to use your outs otherwise to do different things. Alright, onwards, we've got 4 Quick Ball, pretty straightforward. Discard a card, grab basic Pokemon. I also played 4 Level Ball. Everything down here, except for the 2 Inteleons and Octillery, are Level Ball searchable. So it just felt really good to be able to grab Drizziles and Sobbles and Remoraid and Manaphy as needed with these. Definitely would not change that. Also rocked 4 Evolution Incense. Straightforward. Grab all your Evolutions, your Octillery, your Inteleons, your Inteleon Vmax. Just felt really solid. Definitely, again, would not change that. 3 copies of Scoop Up Net to be able to pick up and reuse your packages here. If they would attempt a boss stall you with an Octillery, you could just scoop it up after using Rapid Strike Search, rebench the Remoraid, and you're good to go for next turn. And honestly, Scoop Up Net let me do a lot of crazy shenanigans with the quick shooting for extra pings and the Shady Dealings. So it felt really good. Now, into the one-of territory, we rocked a single Big Charm. Honestly, Big Charm was probably one of the MVPs besides Cheryl and Brawly here throughout the 9 rounds at Indy. Big Charm puts Inteleon up to 350 HP, and this honestly carried the Malamar matchup that I hit. They could never get the 9th card to one-shot the Inteleon, and I would just Cheryl, heal, attach, attack, KO, and it felt really good. So definitely consider Big Charm. Honestly, like if there was space, I would probably play a second one of these, but it is super important to also at least play a Choice Belt. This definitely fixes a lot of the math. You do 30 more damage, so you're technically hitting for 170 with your Spiral every turn. So you're two-shotting now things that you couldn't two-shot before, and it really definitely changed the math for this deck. So basically, Choice Belt and Manaphy are really what made me like want to redo and replay this deck after a while. So continuing on with the one-ofs, we rocked a Pal Pad. This let me abuse and reuse the Cheryls, and potentially boss if it was prized or whatever. But for the most part, your main priority target with Pal Pad is always going to be just Cheryl, so you can technically play 5 in a game, and it feels really good. You out-heal any of the Arceus decks that played Sharon's Care. They usually played like 1 in a Pal Pad, so they can technically do it twice. on average, and if you can heal 5 times and you're two-shotting them even without the choice belt, since they only have 280 or 140 for you, it feels super solid in any of these Arceus or Urshifu decks. Honestly, like, that's why I built it. I thought they were both going to be super popular going into the weekend. And we hit a couple, and we did really good. We'll talk about the matchups in a little bit here. Another one of Rescue Carrier. People are gonna look at this card when I played it and like, wait, what are you doing? Like, normally they're just like Malamar players are so used to seeing Rescue Carrier in their deck, but this also continued to sway the Urshifu matchup. So like I said, they would potentially attempt to boss up the Manaphy, KO it, and expect to set themselves up for a rapid flow turn. I'd be able to Rescue Carrier back a Manaphy in either a Sobble or a Drizzile, or even a Remoraid in some situations, to be able to reuse and reabuse everything. So it just felt really good. In one of the games I played against an Urshi, they did in fact boss up the Manaphy and KO it with a Gale Thrust. And then next turn I evolved into Drizzile, Shady Dealings for Rescue Carrier, and put this and a discarded Drizzile back into my hand, use the other Drizzile to grab a Cheryl, and then heal off the Inteleon. And it just felt really good to be able to rinse and repeat and reuse things. So even like early on, if I had to discard the Manaphy with the quick ball, I would definitely like mind screw with him a little bit of mind games, like, oh, he threw away his Manaphy, he's cocky, and they would expect to go and set up a rapid flow, and when I would see it coming, I would Rescue Carrier and grab the Manaphy back. It felt really good. The last non-energy card was Tool Scrapper. This ended up being so important throughout the day. It really did take away the big charm threats and the choice belts in a lot of these matchups. In a Whimsicott match, which we'll get to, Tool Scrapper was able to get rid of their air balloons, and I was able to stall them out. That felt really good. And I also played a Arceus Metal deck, and they played the Rusted Shield, so this just really hammered that matchup out for me there. Alright, and so we rocked triple Rapid Strike Energy. For a while, I did play 4, and eventually I cut the 4th one for a basic Water. That way I could use the Double Gunner to get extra damage on board. So that's the list. Hopefully you like it. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Don't forget to hit this video with a like. And if you haven't already done so, please subscribe for more Pokemon content. So let's get into the matches. In round 1, I ended up tying at table 463 is where I started against a Urshifu player. Game 1 took quite a long time, and we went into the time. Not during game 1. We went into time in game 3. We couldn't get a clear winner. Game 1, they found their out they needed in terms of Belt, Moltres, Ping to get there over my Inteleon at 320. And I played to my outs, and they hit it. And then game 2, it just felt better. I played a little bit better. We bounced back, and then in time was called during game 3. Round 2, I hit my auto loss, Whimsicott, and because it was so early on in the day, I was just like, you know what, we'll take this, and I go ahead and I signed the match slip and walked away and had a nice 50-minute break to go eat and just chill out and meet some people. Round 3, we hit an Arceus Metal deck, and again, Tool Scrapper really carrying it through, and so did Path. It was pretty much similar to Sutherland's list that we've seen on Limitless on the online tournaments. So I kind of knew what I was getting into on that one. So yeah, they would just attempt to heal. They never found their hyper potions, thankfully. So that was always nice for me to be able to just get through on that one. Round 4 is where the unfortunate started. Round 4, I hit another Urshifu, Dark Moltres kind of deck, and I got donked. I got dunked game 2 and game 3 back to back, unfortunately. Game 1 felt really good, played it out really well, took a dub there, but then yeah, getting lone Remoraid screwed and not being able to get out in game 2, and being screwed and not being able to get out behind a Sobble in game 3, it just let them wrap it up super fast. Into the next round was yet another freaking tie. Another tie. This was against an Arceus Inteleon deck, and we just hit time, and we were in game 3. We each won a game. So it was unfortunate. That's just the way the cookie crumbles on that one. The next round, I hit another Urshifu deck, and I won game 1. And they made a critical error where the turn before they had an Octillery, and then they scooped it up to be able to pivot into the Urshifu and attack into me. During my next turn, I played the Marnie, putting the Octillery and whatever else they had on the bottom of their deck. And then during their next turn, they decided to declare Rapid Strike Search without an Octillery in play and pick up their deck, and they searched it, and a judge just happened to be there. So they got a prize penalty on that one, and then they just conceded that game, that entire match out, and went from there. Round 7 was my point where I'm like, all right, cool. I think I'm done for the day. We'll see what happens with this game. If I win out, cool. Maybe we'll get lucky and, bubble in the 256 or whatever. And I hit a nice guy and chatted up. He was trying to sneakily eat a cookie. Really funny. I didn't care, honestly. I was ready to just chill out and go get some food myself. And they flipped over a Whimsicott. And instead of me just signing the slip and walking away, I was like, you know what? This is going to be my last round. I might as well just play it out. I know I can't win this, but I could definitely just attempt to just stall it out and see what happens, just to, further my own love of this deck a little bit more. And yeah, so game 1 took them 28 minutes. I Sherald'd 5 times thanks to Palpad, and they won eventually with a Bluffball Star V-Star attack, and they got there. Game 2, however, I decked them out. I was able to use things like Boss and Tool Scrapper to get rid of some air balloons, and they really dug too deep looking for their outs to get out of there, and I ended up decking out. And then game 3, as soon as we were shuffling up to play game 3, time was called. So it was a tie. A tie against my auto loss, I'll take it, but unfortunately that was my 3rd tie of the day, and I kind of knew, like, well, I got to get really lucky here to bubble into 256 at this point. And then round 8, I played against a Rapid Strike Malamar deck, and a really cool opponent, but Big Charm really just carried that entire match. Like I said earlier, they could never hit that 9th card to get through 350 HP, and it just felt good to be able to just sit there, attack, Cheryl, heal, rinse, repeat, set up with this, all these moving pieces of this deck, and it felt really solid. And then round 9, I hit a Arceus Inteleon dark deck, and they whiffed. They whiffed the out in game 1. I had 1 prize left, so Moltres was able to hit for 270. They needed a belt and a ping, and they whiffed the ping. They couldn't make it happen to get the 320, and then I took my last prize. And then next game, more of the same. The Big Charm was definitely a huge factor. They couldn't get over it in the end there. But going forward, I think I said I would literally just change one of the path out for either a Tower of Waters or a Escape Rope. I haven't really tested that around yet. I would still play this deck in this form 100%. If I was going to New Jersey, I would make this one change, and I would continue to play this deck. I had a lot of fun with this, especially seeing how the regional results for Joinville and Indy ended up breaking down, as well as that SPE over in Bilbo. I definitely would reconsider not playing anything else. I would literally just play this deck again. It felt really solid. So if you're going to New Jersey or another tournament like a 1K and you want to play something a little bit different and have some fun and have a nice shot against all these Arceus decks, I think this is it, man. I think this is a really solid play. If you play it well and you learn the deck and you learn your matchups, I think this is a super solid choice to make, and I would 100% recommend it. If you found this video informative or helpful, again, please hit it with a like. Comment down below what you think of this deck and what you thought about the tournament run. 423, unfortunately, bubbled out of 256. I finished 281st. There were only, I want to say, I think 6 or 8 players with 15 points that made it in the top 256. So just bubbling points, unfortunately, with this. I did see that there was some success with this deck elsewhere in various different lists as well, but keep those out there. Shout outs to Alex C over on Twitter. I saw him play something similar to this in the late night before the regionals, and I found him on Twitter and DM'd him and chatted a little bit about like choices and cards, and he really definitely sold me on the Brawly and the Rescue Carrier, and they felt really good in testing after that. So always try and find people who want to play different decks with you, and you know, I'm really definitely looking for like some sort of like testing group and all that going forward in the future to really develop my game. I am going to Wisconsin, but again, this I don't know if this is the play for that, since it will be Astral Radiance legal. We'll figure that out, but keep an eye out on the channel for more Pokemon content, the Gust to Win podcast, and more. And also, don't forget to hit me up over on Twitch, where I live stream our local tournaments every Thursday night at 6 p.m. Eastern Time at In the Zone Gaming in Ashtabula, Ohio. But that'll do it for me, and see you in the next one. Take it easy.